Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating approach to mastering a new language. The source material we're looking at proposes this radical but honestly incredibly intuitive philosophy. It argues that your brain actually absorbs English best naturally, through calm exposure and rest, rather than stressful, intense concentration. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by dense textbook grammar rules, well, this breakdown is going to be a massive breath of fresh air.
So, that brings us to a huge question. Can you really learn English effortlessly? I know, it sounds a bit too good to be true, right? But the source makes this super compelling claim that you can pick up a language even in the quietest moments, just by letting the rhythm of the words wash over you. And to show you exactly how this works in practice, we're going to unpack 9 real-world conversation scenarios pulled right from the text. We're not talking obscure textbook examples here. These are the exact everyday conversations you hear out in the real world.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap. We'll start with the science of calm learning, move into everyday errands, socializing and dining, and appointments and navigation, before wrapping it all up with the fluency payoff. Kicking things off with Section 1, the science of calm learning, or how the brain absorbs language.
Now, before we even touch the vocabulary, the source outlines a really specific 3-step natural learning process. Interestingly, it first tells you to get totally comfortable, take a slow breath, and just drop your shoulders. Step 1 is simply listening to natural conversations as they happen. Step 2 is the calm, gentle repetition of key phrases in your head. And Step 3? Just rest and absorption. It's actually brilliant because it completely mimics the effortless way we all learned our native language. Think about it. As toddlers, we definitely weren't grinding through flashcards. We learned through pure exposure, context, and a safe, completely low-pressure environment.
Moving right into Section 2, everyday errands. We'll be hitting the supermarket, the gym, and clothes shopping.
Now, what's really interesting here is looking at these transactional phrases side by side. In a supermarket, you need highly practical stuff, asking where the checkout line is or if they have more stock in the back. Over at the gym, the vocabulary shifts entirely to value. You're asking about the best value or maybe getting a tour of the facility. And then for clothes shopping, you've got your absolute essentials, looking for something casual, asking to try it on, and hunting down the fitting room. These aren't just random words. They are the literal, functional building blocks of everyday English.
Let's talk about pattern recognition for a second. The phrase, "I'm looking for," is a perfect example. We all know it means trying to find a specific place or thing, but the real magic is its crazy versatility. The source shows this exact phrase being used when a shopper is hunting for a casual jacket, and then again when a completely lost tourist is trying to find the main train station. When you master anchor phrases like this, you're literally taking a shortcut to fluency because you can use them absolutely anywhere.
Here's another massive one from the clothing store scenario. It depends on. Basically, it just means the answer changes based on the situation. The source gives these wonderfully practical examples to show how native speakers naturally use this. Like, a customer might say it depends on the fit when asked about their size. Or if you're making weekend plans, you drop a casual, it depends on the weather. It's one of those fantastic conditional phrases that instantly makes you sound so much more natural.
Every word is settling into your memory. This is a direct quote from the source, and honestly, it acts as a great little palate cleanser. The text sprinkles in these calming, positive affirmations to give your brain a necessary break between those dense vocabulary sections. It's basically a gentle reminder to just take a breath, stay relaxed, and let the language structure sink in without trying to force it.
Let's jump into Section 3, Socializing, Food, and Hobbies, which covers cafes, restaurants, and weekend plans.
Okay, let's see how comparing 2 different dining experiences totally expands your conversational range. In a casual cafe, the language is super fast and efficient. Baristas want to know if it's hot or iced, if you need that pastry warmed up, and the classic for here or to go. But step into a nice restaurant and the whole tone elevates. Suddenly you're dealing with a reservation, asking for a table on the terrace, asking the waiter, "What do you recommend?" and having them formally confirm your order with, "Is that correct?" Picking up on this subtle shift in tone is absolutely huge for natural language learning.
All right, next up, we have this rapid-fire list of crucial conversational connectors for making plans and talking about hobbies. These are pulled right from the weekend picnic and photography club conversations. This is the stuff that keeps a chat alive. You might casually suggest to do something, or ask, "What did you have in mind?" Maybe you check the weather forecast, or pitch an idea with "how about?" And then we have those amazing reactive phrases.
Like when you see an old friend you haven't seen in a while, or you react with a surprised, "no way." Empathize by saying, "I bet," or ask if someone is into something. Guys, these are the absolute social glues of spoken English.
I do want to spotlight one essential socializing idiom in particular, and that's hang out. It just means spending time together in a very casual, relaxed way. The source uses this perfect everyday example: we should hang out more often. Because here's the thing, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you really don't say, "we should spend time together." That honestly sounds a little stiff. You say, "let's hang out." It instantly makes the whole vibe friendlier and way more approachable.
You are absorbing the rhythm of English conversation. Just another beautiful, affirmative quote from the source to pace our learning. You'll notice the text keeps this incredibly empathetic and encouraging tone the entire way through. By constantly reminding the learner that they are absorbing this rhythm naturally, it totally neutralizes frustration and keeps your mind wide open to new sounds.
Moving on to Section 4, Appointments and Finding Your Way. We'll be looking at doctors and directions.
Let's be real, navigating a doctor's appointment over the phone can be incredibly anxiety-inducing, even for native speakers. It is just so relatable. But the source breaks down the exact phrases you need. You call to make an appointment. The receptionist says they'll pull up your file and asks for the reason for your visit. The practical utility here is off the charts. I genuinely love the phrase, "the sooner the better" in this context. It perfectly gets across that it's urgent without making you sound demanding or rude. And then the call just wraps up smoothly with, "does that work for you?" and a quick, "just to confirm," so everyone's on the same page.
Now, what about finding your way around a totally new city? The text distills giving and getting directions into a few super simple steps. First, you break the ice with a really polite, "I'm a bit lost." From there, it's usually just 3 easy instructions: go straight, turn right or left, and walk for a few blocks. And the conversation wraps up with this classic, slightly funny English guarantee: you can't miss it. It's supposed to mean the place is so incredibly obvious you'll definitely see it, though, let's be honest, we all know that's not always true.
So the crucial point I want to emphasize here is this ultimate safety net phrase, just in case. It means you're doing something just to be prepared for a potential problem. And what's so clever about the source material is how it subtly weaves this exact phrase into 2 completely different scenarios. It pops up when friends decide to bring an extra blanket to a picnic, and then boom, it appears again when a local tells a tourist to keep their GPS handy. It is absolutely the ultimate phrase for preparedness.
And finally, we hit Section 5, Growing Your English Confidence, or as I like to call it, the Fluency Payoff. The entire purpose of this source material is not just to make you memorize some massive list of dictionary words. It's really designed to deliver a psychological payoff. It's about how mastering these everyday scenarios actually rewires the way your brain processes language. The whole thing wraps up with these powerful core affirmations. I understand English naturally. I communicate clearly and confidently. English words come to me easily. I enjoy speaking English. The underlying philosophy here is that when you replace the traditional stress of learning with calm, consistent exposure, these real-world connections basically create a lasting fluency right in your brain. The words literally organize themselves, just waiting to come out naturally when you need them.
So, I want to leave you with one final thought from our explainer today. Are you ready to speak with confidence and joy tomorrow? By really leaning into this method of calm, natural language exposure, you are more than capable of stepping out and testing this everyday vocabulary in the real world. You've got the tools, you've got the phrases, now it's literally just about letting them flow. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this deep dive into natural learning.